Hello, friends. Welcome to Bonaventures, the Inspired Learners platform. My name is Dadis Tumwambe, and this is Inspired Learners Podcast, episode A61. Today we have Abel Mdusi, who is currently a student of theology at Jordan University College and is presenting something to do with human freedom and addiction. We're going to have him present on the topic straight away as can human freedom prevail over addiction? Can human freedom prevail over addiction? So straight away, may I welcome Abel Mdusi to present on the topic. By the way, just to note, we are free to use both English and Kiswahili. Maybe to translate the topic is that je, uhuru wa mtu unaweza kustahimili uraibu, unaweza kushinda uraibu? Karibu kaka Mdusi, so welcome, so we can kickstart. You have less than 30 minutes to present. Welcome.
Okay, thanks my brother. Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
As you said, my topic concerning about human freedom and human addiction. And the main point here is that how can human freedom prevail over human addiction? So our discussion, I have just to prepare it to whether human freedom is able to overcome human addiction. So first, let us see who is the human person. Who is the human person? According to the different views, we have different persons tried to define who human person is. For example, we have Boethus, who for him he said that human person is an individual of a rational nature. For him, just the basic as a human person is the one who having rational nature. But also according to the Catholic teaching, with for them the based on the context on the body and soul, that a human person is the one who involves body and soul. But when you come to Thomas Aquinas, he says that the human person is a substance of a rational nature. It's the part that a substance is the ability or is the state or capacity of maintaining oneself. But according to my reflection, I came to give the view that a human person is the one who having freedom. That a human person should involve freedom for himself. So, human freedom is a central concept in understanding what it means to be human. For according to my research or my review, that human freedom is a central concept in understanding who is the human person. However, the freedom normally, or the freedom is directed by forces that limit self-control and autonomy. We know that if you have freedom, you have your self-control and you have your autonomy. But this freedom is challenged by those things. So what challenge the human freedom of the freedom is challenged by addiction. So according to myself, that nowadays on this contemporary world, the human freedom is challenged by addiction, which is among the powerful challenge to human freedom. So addiction appears to undermine free will by compelling individuals to act against their own value or intention. So addiction, before that, we know that the one who having freedom, having free will, to act according to his or to her what he feel. But if the human freedom is undermined by addiction, means that your free will is controlled by something else. So I came to realize that what challenged human freedom is addiction. And let us see the meaning of human freedom in general. That human freedom can be seen as the ability to choose or to act according to a reason, value, or personal goals. So it's the ability of a person to choose or to act according to his reason or according to his value and their personal goals rather than mere impulse from outside. So human freedom, ability to choose or to act according to your reason. But when you come to human addiction, it is different to human freedom. That addiction is the repeated use of substance or engagement in an activities, despite it is harmful or effect. So it is a kind of substance or behavior engagement on the activities which, despite it is harmful or despite it is challenge to the environment or despite it is challenge to other human person, but you engage on it. And however, overcoming addiction is possible. That to overcome human addiction is possible for human being, but it needs the courage or it needs different steps. So according to research, I come to realize that human freedom is able to prevent human addiction, but on how? So let us see on how human freedom is able to overcome human addiction. It is not a simple thing to overcome, as I said, but it is difficult. But through gradual process of overcoming addiction, that you cannot say today I'm going to stop for my addiction which I'm having. It is difficult for 1 day or for 2 days, but it is a gradual change. It is a process which can lead you to overcome addiction, to overcome human addiction. The first step is awareness and self-recognition, that to recognize the problem. The issue to recognize is done by human freedom. So the ability to recognize your problem is done by freedom, as I said. You may able to prevent your human addiction. That's the first way freedom prevail of addiction is through awareness. Many addicted individuals begin to recover when they recognize. You cannot recover your addiction if you cannot recognize your problem. So you have first to recognize your problem. Thereafter, you are able to overcome your addiction. As I said, recognition itself is an act of freedom, as it is involves the honest self-reflection and acceptance of responsibility. So recognition itself is a honest self-reflection of the problem and acceptance of responsibility. And the honest self-reflection is done by human freedom, by your will to recognize the problem. Example, you may come to realize that we have different human addiction, pornography, drugs, alcohol, cigarette, eating, but you cannot solve the problem of pornography, or the problem of drugs, or the problem of alcohol, the problem of cigarette, and whatever you can say, without self-awareness and self-recognition. Self-awareness and self-recognition, it comes from your will, your personal will. The second one, in order to solve human addiction, is through identifying the root cause. That through identifying the root cause, the causes of your addiction, so you have to know what makes you to be addicted by something. For example, you have an addiction of alcohol. You have to stay and to discuss with your will, or to recognize your will, that why makes me to engage in alcohol, or what makes me to engage on pornography. So you have to know the cause. Normally, those people I'm trying to meet with them, that when you talk with them, they are saying that without identifying the root cause, it is difficult to solve your addiction. So it is that you have to identify your cause that makes you to be addicted. It may be stress or depression. So if you know what makes me to engage in alcohol or cigarette or pornography or drugs is stress. So you come to realize, so the problem is stress. Let me quit the stress. The problem is something else. Let me quit with those things so that I may be against addiction. So you have, after the self-recognition, after awareness and self-recognition, it comes to the cause, what makes you to engage. The third one, it is to educate yourself. The third one, as I said, to educate yourself. It does not mean that you have to wait someone to educate you. No, you yourself, you have your way. So your awareness, you have self-recognition. Now you identify the root of the cause to educate yourself. Understanding your addiction is usual. Research why addiction occur. It is a side effect. And the method to quit. Remember, addiction is a mindset. As I said, addiction normally control free will. So it is a mindset. So you have to educate yourself the effect or the harmful you received from your addiction. So if you have got many disadvantages from your addiction, you come to realize that it is a harmful thing. So you have to quit yourself. And to quit yourself is through your freedom. So awareness and self-recognition identifies your cause. To educate yourself, it is through your human freedom and not something else. The first one is choosing help and accepting support. That yes, you have educated yourself. Now you have to find some support or some groups which are good, or some friends who are able to accompany you so that you may go in a good way. That choosing help and accepting support. That is the crucial way of freedom to overcome addiction. As I said, it is a free choice to seek the help. And if it is a free choice to seek the help, you have your addiction, you know the root cause, and you have been educated yourself. So you have to choose the help from the other people, they say. It is through your human freedom. You decide that, let me find someone to help me for this situation I'm going through. So it is through your human freedom. And contrary to the idea that freedom means to total independence, the cover shows that the freedom often grows through relationship and supportive system. Choosing therapy or support groups reflect yourself. So you have to seek to choose or to seek or to choose the help or to accept the support from other people. But when you are just told that someone does that or since you have a certain problem, you have to go in this way. You have to accept it so that you may go out from your addiction you have. The fifth one is just the self-discipline and taking choice, so that human freedom is able to prevail over addiction through self-discipline and repeated choice. Your personal discipline and your personal discipline is power inspires individual to reset of driving and makes difficult decision daily. Your personal self-discipline day to day is able to make you to overcome over human addiction. And self-discipline is not from outside, is from your human freedom. From your human freedom, you are able to create self-discipline. Although you may receive education or advice from outside, as I said, or from the first point that you choose to help and accepting support from outside. But normally, self-discipline comes from your human freedom. So if you have your addiction, you have to keep self-discipline so that you may able to overcome your addiction. For example, if you consider a person addicted with drugs or with alcohol or with cigarette, for it is not easy to stop within a week. It is very difficult. But through self-discipline, you are able to quit from human addiction. So if you are normal taking per day, you take maybe 3 times. Self-discipline, you may start with 2 times. Then after 2 days, you come to realize you take once. After the third day, you take once. Again, after the 1 week, you take once. At the end of the day, you come to recognize that you overcome human addiction with your process. So your discipline is able to overcome human addiction. And the self-discipline is created or is found within your human freedom. Another point is the rebuilding identity and meaning. That addiction often becomes a part of personal identity. Sometimes when you engage in human addiction, that you become a part of personal identity. Human freedom now it is able to work to prevent that addiction you have. This may involve the pushing education, work, relationship, spirituality, or creative goal. That a building identity and the meaning. That if you are addicted with something else, as I mentioned above, different examples of human addiction. So how can you rebuild the identity and the meaning? is through engaging in different things, through education, through work, through relationship, through spirituality or creative goal. So that not every time you think you are addicted enough, you have a tendency of to take alcohol, you have a tendency of to see pornography. So if you are now tempted to go to maybe normally at 6, you have to attend for your addiction. So you have to change to engage in a different identity or different activities, or taking the book to read, or taking the gospel, or to taking the word of God, or to engage with other people so that you may go or you may go away through your addiction engage. Another point is find your purpose. That many addicted lack safe purpose or leading to stress or action, that choose passion and engage in activities to allow to overcome this feeling. So as I said from the 6th point, that to rebuild the identity, it is not far from the 7th point, that to find your purpose, to engage in different activities so that you may not engage in human addiction or addiction you have. And the last point is through spiritual support. Spiritual support is one among the point, or one among the factor which can lead someone to go or to overcome human addiction. That spirituality involves connection with high power, with your creator. Normally for Christians, say with your God, which can be the religious. It shifts focus from immediate gratification to long-term goals and the personal growth. Spiritual support offers faith, hope during the tough times. So if you have especially for seminarian, most of them, the formators, they are emphasized to have spiritual father. And even those who are not seminarian, you have to have someone who will guide you in your spiritual. So even if you have your addiction, so if you need to engage in your addiction, you have been educated, it is better to have spiritual support. As I said, that spiritual support normally brings faith, brings hope during the tough times. So when you are addicted with something, if you have spiritual support which brings you faith, which brings you hope, you are able to overcome human addiction. And all of them spiritual support, as I said, rebuilding identity, self-discipline, and to educate yourself, choosing help and accepting support, identity from the root, or awareness and self-recognition is through your human freedom and not outside your human freedom. It is your human freedom that tells you to find spiritual support. It is your human freedom tells you to have self-discipline. It is your human freedom tells you to find the cause of your addiction, or to educate yourself, or choosing help and accepting support from outside. So it is your human freedom create all of those things which I have said. And the example of human freedom prevailing over addiction, that a clear example is to recover from drug addiction. Many individuals nowadays who were once unable to function without substance later maintain their situation. But most of them, those who have been addicted, when they pass those steps I have mentioned, they are able to overcome the human or the addiction. Now I can say that it is through human addiction, it is through human freedom is able to overcome human addiction, that your freedom is able to prevent the human addiction and not something else. That is according to my research, what I have done. So I may conclude by saying that human freedom and human addiction exists in a tense and a complex relationship. That human freedom, you choose what you need to do through your human will or through your intellect. But human addiction is to hinder your free will. Freedom represents the human capacity of choice. That human freedom normally presents the human capacity for choice, responsibility, and self-determination. That it is your human freedom that chooses your choice, your responsibility as a person or within a community, and self-determination. While addiction represents the powerful to construct that or to undermine the capacity. So the aim of human addiction or the aim of addiction is to undermine human freedom, to undermine your choice, to undermine your responsibility, to undermine your self-determination. Addiction normally limits freedom by distorting desire, weakening the self-control, and narrowing the meaningful choice. That human addiction or addiction normally it limits the freedom or it weakens the self-control and narrowing the meaningful of choice. However, it does not entirely destroy freedom. That despite the human addiction, it does not entirely to destroy human freedom. Nashukuru sana. You are most welcome if you having some addition or you have some question. You are most welcome, Brother Johnson.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your research and what you have contributed about addiction. And maybe I have something to add on, maybe.
Yes, brother.
And that maybe sometime it can be like a summarize of what you have said about human freedom and the addiction.
Yes.
Remember that this human freedom or this human addiction, the way to overcome addiction or how we can say about turning to the human freedom. Now, in my view, and according to the readings I've been taking through, now referring to the kind also, my friends in academia.
Yes.
So we say we turn to the self. The turning to the self has examination of conscience. We can go in a Christian way that examination of the conscience, but now in academic form we can see that they turn to the self. The self examining each person's awareness. So in that time to the self, we ask ourselves about everything, about what we know, about what we do, in everything. So a knowledge about what we do, what we can appeal to begin by understanding ourselves, the self-awareness. As Descartes said that I think therefore I am, mean that for him, we see that In the thinking, when we thinking, it just comes awareness that I am more aware. So, in collecting freedom means that we are now appealing to the awareness of ourselves. So, coming to awareness of ourselves, that is a very point of which we can continue now to examine all our maybe we saw now our addiction. But also now in terms of addiction, you have said in terms of like examples you have given about addiction, like drugs, what. But also I would like now to add something that addiction, it is not all about those negative activities that the human person may do. But also there is other of which now addiction can be summarized or explained as a going or as a extreme. In that when we connect to market, we should stick to the mean. So addiction becomes now as a part of going beyond the mean or lowering the mean, meaning that taking low or taking more than. So now addiction also now can be connected also even now, like in a reading Bible, that when man is devoted much, always just referring everything into that, now it becomes addiction. Also maybe is possessed with education. Every time he has no time with the society, he has no time with something, he has no time with people. So he's addicted to books. That is also addiction, of which we have not spoken of. We have spoken of those things like that one. So even now, this addiction may now look or may now go, may now turn or touch every aspect. So when you talk of the human examination, or the examination of the self is when now we can examine our real or all that around us, all our activities that we are doing. We may identify by going to the self as you have said that the human freedom that now turn to the self. So by then we can also identify each of our points because I think that every human person has got his own addiction, whether it's good or bad. So we need, and that addiction is not good according to the math genetics, that we need to have a balance of everything we do. So I think I would like to conclude that addiction is more than what maybe we can think, but the addiction also is connected to every action we are doing. So we need to turn to the self and to examine our addiction. And with that human freedom was given by God from the nature, the way it is, so it will help us, we will shape ourselves so that we can teach to the society and we can move together toward the goal. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. As I said, yes, it is true that human addiction, to overcome human addiction, it is not a simple thing. As I said from the beginning, it is not a simple thing. And I continue to emphasize that it is a gradual change or it is a gradual process. So it is a step by step. So thank you, brother, for your contribution.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, brother, for your contribution and your presentation. So I am here. I think I have I have no any question, but I think I have one or 2 points to add. According to according to the presented topic. So first, I adhere to the topic itself with the heading that can human freedom prevail over addiction? Yes, for me, how it has really touched me, this presentation, because at the time when we were presenting about maybe the measures of how we can take so that to overcome or to underpower this challenge of addiction. You spoke about honest self-reflection.
Yes, brother.
Yes, for me, in my turn, that I think this is a powerful tool we should embrace, and we should use it in overcoming this talent of addiction. When you spoke about honest self-reflections, that through reflection we challenge ourselves.
Yes.
In challenging ourselves, then it's there now we obtain that moral responsibility. From the quotation of the philosopher Emmanuel Kant once said that freedom is the foundation of moral responsibility. So through this freedom now is the foundation of moral responsibility. This moral responsibility comes within this reflection and challenging ourselves, because in through reflections we will get the measures and the basic way how to conduct our life and how to overcome these challenges. The challenges of addictions. I can speak one of the addiction. We can dopamine. We are all with dopamine. At the rate of maybe spending hours in scrolling to short medias such as Instagram, maybe YouTube, TikTok, may find that you have a to do, but you find yourself that you are already taken up by this social media to scroll on video to watch on clips which are there. So I study about these measures to connect with this one is self-reflection. So once we embrace this spirit of reflection and the challenging ourselves, I think that be the best measure to take to prevail over this addiction. Thank you.
For your contribution.